Hello everyone, I'm Zethrix.
And I'm Savazar. And we played Dinkum for 100 days, and here's what happened.
Okay, so this isn't going to be your traditional 100 days video. We're going to do things a little bit different, and I'm going to break down everything into smaller episodes. I think it'll be better for you as a viewer to follow along, and I think it'll be better for me while I'm still learning how to edit. You're going to be on the front row seat of our journey. We'll be facing feisty crocs, looking for cool treasures,
And my favorite, catching all the bugs.
we'll have to overcome challenges that we didn't expect. You'll be surprised by the things we find. We'll be growing our community and harvesting our crops.
Putting our fighting skills to the test.
We're going to be expanding our town. We're going to be facing a lot of downfalls. But this is our journey. And I'm glad you're here. So if you haven't heard of Dinkum, it's like throwing Animal Crossing, Minecraft, and Stardew Valley into a blender. And this is what you get. The first challenge we faced was getting into a game together. You have to create a character before you can go in the multiplayer. I don't think I look good bald. The character creation is pretty simple. You pick your hair, you pick your color, you pick the color of your shirt, and then you get to choose your name and the name of your island.
So, welcome to Savvyland.
After we create our character, we learn that we're from a town that's not doing so well. We then get the opportunity to go to Savvyland, where we can start building our new island. Once we get there, we meet with Fetch, who becomes our compass. She guides us in the right direction. Finally, after our long journey, Fetch gives us our base camp and our map. So then we set out to find our new home. After looking at the map, I decided I wanted to be somewhere in the middle. So I bounced, skipped, and hopped my way over there. Once I decided this was a good spot, I put down our first tent. And then apparently Fetch just happened to follow me all the way over here. She then gave me the tent to make my first home. And right here looks good. The goal was to rush through this so we could get Savazar into the game as fast as possible. So whatever quest Fetch was giving to me, I was getting it done right away. I didn't have time to mess around, because Savazar couldn't wait to come to her new island. I learned about permit points, which you get for completing tasks. Guess I already did a few. I started navigating my way through the menus and sort of learning where everything was. We can look at our quests. We can look at everything we've collected. And we have an overview of our profile, where you can see all the levels. After returning the Fetch again, she graciously gave me a few stone and taught me how to make a campfire. So of course, I immediately ran to make a campfire, and that's where I put it. Finally, we got our bug net and our sleeping bag, and we didn't waste any time getting to bed. It was just the beginning, but at this point, I couldn't wait to get Savazar in the game. So every night, we get a quick rundown of everything we accomplished that day. But most importantly, Savazar was finally on the island.
I finally made it to the island. The first thing I had to do was look at our new home. If there's only one sleeping bag, where am I supposed to sleep? I also found some meat on the ground and wanted to try it out on the campfire.
Honestly, I didn't even know you could do that, so I tried to put my meat on the fire, but she beat me to it. I tried to make a new friend, but he didn't like me. I found some weird green jelly beans on a tree. I learned I could do daily tasks, which I thought would be pretty helpful. Now it was my turn to cook. We got our first visitor, and we can buy things from him, and we can also sell things to him. I sold what I could, and then I immediately headed out to see what else I could find. I found some cool flowers, some more jelly beans, which I learned were limes, and I made sure to visit Fetch to see what she needed. And she made me rich. I went back to John, who was clearly busy doing something else.
I think John and I are going to be very close.
I decided to buy my first pickaxe. I wasn't sure what I should mine, so I started mining a few rocks. I went back to John because Fetch told me to buy a table saw, which should come in handy. I couldn't believe how expensive it was because it basically cost me all of my money. I put it right outside of our tent and tested it out. After I completed my quest, I went back to Fetch, where I learned how to make a furnace. I put the furnace next to the table saw, and I started smelting some tin that I mined. After that, I decided it was time to explore some more, so I caught a butterfly, I found some apples. After catching one more butterfly, I was almost out of energy, so I looked at my quests. I finished the bug catcher quest where I caught 10 bugs. I walked for 5 kilometers, and then I found this shark. And I just enjoyed my apples and kept a close eye on them. I made my way back home and talked to Fetch, and I learned how to make nails and a wooden crate. I then learned that it was Fetch's birthday, so I tried to give her an apple, and she didn't like it very much. John thought it was hilarious, and then he asked for something to eat as well, so I gave him a lime, and he didn't like it that much. I think I ruined his appetite. My goal was to convince John to stay with us, and I didn't start out so well. It wasn't nighttime yet, so I set out to see what else I could find. I found this new biome. It was full of turkeys and palm trees. I found a beach covered in seashells. I found a new bug. And then Savazar found me and got us into trouble.
I don't know how that happened. I just wanted to find Zethrix and go home.
After running for our lives, we finally made it home and realized we still only had one sleeping bag. After getting a sleeping bag for Savazar, it was time to call it a day. Day 2 consisted of a few bug catching levels, a few mining levels, and a few foraging levels. And on day 3, John was visiting again. To start off day 3, I made my way over to Fetch, where I learned I can make a crafting table. I started looking at the various licenses which you can use your permit points to purchase. And when you buy a license, you basically unlock new skills or you unlock crafting recipes for those skills. So I bought the logging license and the farming license. I then made my way back over to John, where I finally sold all my goodies that I collected, and I made a nice chunk of money. After I got my logging license, I was able to buy an axe. I then used the tin that I had to make nails, and I finally finished making the crafting table. And now I didn't have to run to Fetch's tent every time I wanted to make something. I wasn't sure how I wanted to set everything up yet, so I decided to put the crafting table next to our tent. I went back out to catch more bugs and mine more ores so I can continue to make more money. On the way, I managed to complete lots of tasks. I collected over 10 shells. I sold over 10 bugs. I made over 10,000 dinks. I harvested over 100. I smashed over 10 rocks. And finally, I collected over 5 recipes. And then I ran into this scary fella who was beating up a poor little dog. All I had was my axe, but I did my best. I fought my hardest. I jumped as much as I could. And finally, came out on top. If that was just the first monster I ran into, I can't imagine what else we'd be finding. I took all my goodies, went back to my good old friend John, and sold everything. This time, making over 20,000 dinks. And with all those permit points I had, it was time to spend them. I learned excavation. And after living off that high of making 20,000 dinks, I went back out to find more stuff. I caught more bugs. And I found this big tree, which is what I thought was palm wood, which I needed for several recipes. And at this point, I was catching every bug that I could get my little net on. I continued exploring and finding new places. But I made sure not to stray too far from home because I didn't know what was out there. After another successful day, it was time to go to bed. Let's just all have a moment of silence for Savazar while she struggled to get into the bed. Day 3 was a very successful bug catching day. And of course, more mining levels and foraging levels. This was just the start of leveling up these skills. And on a successful day 3, we managed to make 26,000 dinks. Alright everyone, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed episode 1, and I can't wait to see you on episode 2. Please let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.